Hi Year 4, so here we are with our second lesson on symmetry. So today we are moving on to finding lines of symmetry in 2D shapes. So by the end of this lesson, hopefully you will know what the difference between a regular and an irregular shape is, and that you will also be able to find lines of symmetry in a regular and an irregular shape. So the first thing we need to do is have a quick recap on what the difference is between a regular and an irregular shape. Now we will have heard of those words before because we have spoken about them before, but just a quick recap. So on the left you will see a hexagon, and we know it's a hexagon because it's got 6 sides. Look at the shape on the right, that's also got 6 sides. But what's the difference? Well, the shape on the left, all the sides are the same length. So we would call this a regular hexagon, and this is an irregular one because although it's still got 6 sides, they're all different, so it doesn't really look like the hexagon that we know. So a shape has a line of symmetry if you can draw a line through it so that one part is exactly the same as the other part. So this triangle here, the right angle triangle, got one line of symmetry. If you fold that half over that half, it would go over it exactly. There'd be nothing overlapping. These shapes have one line of symmetry. So we've got a pentagon, a quadrilateral and a kite, and they've got one line of symmetry. And if you put one here, some of you might think there might be another one there, but you can see that this side here is a bit narrower than the bottom, so if you folded it that way, then it wouldn't fit exactly over the top. These shapes have 2 lines of symmetry. So we've got a rectangle and an oval. Now lots of you will probably think, if you're asked about a rectangle, that it has 4 lines of symmetry, because you might think that you can also go diagonal to diagonal. Okay, have a test at home, get yourself a piece of A4 paper and see if you can fold it diagonally and see what happens. Some shapes have more than 2 lines of symmetry. So we've got a square here. Okay, it's got a square piece of paper. So I'm going to find out how many lines of symmetry it's got. So first of all, I'm going to fold it in half, corner to corner. Okay, so you can see now that nothing is overlapping. So the line that goes down the middle there, we would say that is a line of symmetry. So you get your ruler and your pencil and you would draw that on like this. Okay, then you think, okay, well, where else is there a line of symmetry? So I'm going to try and fold it the other way in half. Okay, you can see again there that there is nothing overlapping. Both parts sit exactly on top of each other. So I'm going to draw on my second line of symmetry. Okay, now I'm going to try a diagonal fold to see if that works. So I'm going to across the square. Okay, very carefully, and you can see there now that we would call that a line of symmetry because there is nothing overlapping. So I draw that one on there also. Okay, so at the minute we've got 3 lines of symmetry. Now, straight away you should be able to see where the 4th line of symmetry would go. You spot it. I'm going to fold it across the other way diagonally. Again, you can see there's nothing overlapping, so it's a line of symmetry. So I'll draw my 4th line of symmetry on. Now, if we just do a quick example with a rectangle, I've not got a plain piece here, but if you see, if I folded this corner to corner, you can see that it doesn't fit exactly on top of the other side. There are parts that are overlapping, so that's how we know if it isn't a line of symmetry. It's got to fit exactly on the top. So my square has got 4 lines of symmetry. Let's have a look. So 1, 2, 3, 4. A square has 4 lines of symmetry. So what do we think about this shape? So it's a pentagon, an irregular pentagon. What do you think? Have a guess. So have a look at it and think, do you think it's got 0 lines, 1, 2 or more than 2? Just jot it down somewhere, see what you think. Okay, let's have a look. 1. This shape has 1 line of symmetry. If we put 1 here, then point as it folded over, it'd be pointy on that side, but no point there for it to line top of. So it's only got 1 line of symmetry. What about the shape? So irregular hexagon, or regular, quite similar size to sides. 1, 0, 1 or 2. Have a look. We've got 2 lines of symmetry, so that must mean it's irregular, and you will find out why when you do today's task. Okay, next one. Okay, we've got a triangle here. 0, 1, 2 or more than 2. What do you think? Jot it down. Let's have a look. Okay, so that one's got 3 lines of symmetry. So that must mean it's an equilateral triangle because it's got 3 sides and 3 lines of symmetry. And again, when you do today's task, you will notice a pattern emerging with regular shapes for their amount of sides and their amount of lines of symmetry. How many lines does this shape have? This one only has 2, so it's very similar to your rectangle. You might think it's got more, but if you folded it and did some investigating, you would see that they don't lie exactly on top of each other. Okay, so moving on from that, because today's lesson, so your task, the first job you've got is to do some sorting of shapes, which I'll talk you through in a minute. Then you will complete this sheet, which is looking at regular and irregular shapes, and count up the number of sides and then working out their lines of symmetry. So you can get your ruler and your pencil and you can draw them on if you want to. If it helps you, cut out the shapes or trace them and cut them out and do some folding if that works better for you. Once you've done that, then you're going to move on to this sheet, and this is investigating the alphabet but still with lines of symmetry. So we're just going to look at some examples together now. So the first one is the letter H. Okay, so look at it and think, whereabouts, if any, are there any lines of symmetry? Okay, how can we fold this shape for it to be symmetrical with each other? So have a little look. I can spot 2. Okay, so we've got, oh, I can't draw on this, can I? This PowerPoint. We've got 1 going down the middle here, and we would have 1 going across there. And as it folded on top of each other that way, it would be symmetrical, and as you folded it that way, it would also be symmetrical. So H has got 2 lines. A J. Do we think there are any lines of symmetry here? What do you think, yes or no? And why? Why do you yes or why not? Well, straight away you should be noticing that the J, because it bends round to the left, if we did any folding, we haven't got that part on the right hand side there. Okay, if we folded it this way, then it wouldn't fit on top of each other. So the J has 0 lines of symmetry. P, what about P? Can we go horizontal? Can we go vertical? Can we go diagonal? What do you think? Have a close look. Could we fold it in any way so that it would lie exactly on top of each other? The answer is no, there are no lines of symmetry for P. And finally, U. Now this is a trick one because normally a U, you would be able to have a line of symmetry with it. But you can see here that the font of this one, it's thicker on this side than that side. So if I folded that over, more of this would overlap there because it's wider. So you've got to look really carefully at the letters that you're working with. Okay, so job number 1. All these sheets are on Firefly. We want you to cut out just the boxes of these 16 shapes, and we want you to sort them into 2 columns. one that has lines of symmetry and a column for no lines of symmetry. So we're not asking you to find out how many lines there are. You can challenge yourself, you could do that if you wanted to, because there are some tricky ones on there. We just want you to sort them into 2 columns, lines of symmetry and no lines of symmetry. So that's job number 1. Then, we've been through this one before, you're going to complete this one for 2D shapes. So, like I said to you, you might find it easier if you trace the shape and cut it out, or cut the ones out on here. It would be better to trace them. Cut them out and then practice folding them. That's what we would do if we was in school. We'd be having you folding the shapes and things to work and help you work them all out. That might make it easier for you. See if you can spot a pattern, particularly on this top section here. What pattern can you find? And if you manage to finish that and there's still time left, then you can do some investigating with symmetry across the alphabet. Okay, good luck.